We should be live.
Nice.
Yep. Okay. Actually, wait a minute. Okay, I'm hearing some mic problems right now. We should be live.
Sure?
Head out.
It sounds like a mic is just like going in and out. Is that Doomslayer?
Yeah, I can hear it too.
Yeah, I think it is Doomslayer. You might need to fix your mic, man.
Or drop in and out of Discord sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's him.
Yeah, I'll let you do your thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and get my introductions out of the way. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 11 of Extinction Level Gaming. And as I wanted to do for this new episode of this new year, I wanted to get some good people onto the show, some returning and some new. And honestly, I want to give some spotlights to two creators in particular who aren't really that big compared to me, but I want to help them out. So I want to go ahead and start off with triple combo right here. So what's up, man? What have you been playing? And tell everyone where they can find you at, man. Like, what do you do on your channel?
Gotcha. So, firstly, what I've been playing, I've been bouncing around between Destiny, Cyberpunk, Monster Hunter demo recently came out, so I was playing that. Where to find me? You can find me at Triple Combo Gaming on YouTube or T Combo Gaming on Twitter. At the moment, when it comes to content, I'm pretty much just putting out whatever comes to mind. So there's not much consistency. When I started, I was trying to do like news videos, but didn't find too much interest on that, considering my work schedule. So I was like, you gotta be on the news quick, or find something that you can put out without being hold up to like a certain time window. So at the moment, it's still a toss up, but yeah, pretty much that. And I also want to say thanks for letting me on the show. So as I mentioned before, this is my first time, so much appreciated.
Yeah, no problem. And I saw you like support a few of my podcast episodes too. So I've had I saw you posted your own videos, so I had to give you a chance to be on here at least and help you grow.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
I've just subscribed to you, dude. Triple Combo Gaming.
Much appreciated, bro.
Nice.
And I want to go to a returning member that has appeared on my show before, Wooly. What is up, man? I know.
What's up?
I know, like in the last few weeks, it was pretty exciting for you, almost getting into a fight on Twitter.
Yeah, mate. To be honest, dude, I'm resting on my laurels that it takes a bigger man to say no to a midget. You know what I mean? but no, unfortunately, you know that drama. It is what it is. He's still talking about me to this day. So he I think I gave him the most excitement he's had all year, like
probably his entire life.
But you know, I've kind of got bigger fish to fry. I've got bigger things to think about, like my missus, and we're gonna be parents. We found out last week. I'm gonna be a dad. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, congratulations, Wooly.
Thank you.
Congrats.
I appreciate that, man. So it's exciting times, dude. Exciting times, and traveling 3,000 miles to fight for money isn't really something that the missus appreciates. And to be honest, I've got better things to think about. To be honest, more exciting things to plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro. It's been a crazy few weeks. Hope you've all had a good New Year and a good Christmas. It was my birthday 2 days ago, and I've just been gaming. I've just platinumed. Got my third platinum now, so that's exciting.
Well, that's good to know. You still are able to platinum games.
Yeah, I'm working on the platinums. Well, to be honest, guys, I've always struggled to kind of commit to a game to platinum it, and I've never really seen many games through to the end. It's a trouble that I have, but that's my kind of resolution for 21 in terms of gaming related resolutions. I want to stick games out more, so I want to devote more time to one game and get it complete and even platinum it. So that's kind of my goal.
I definitely have that same issue with you. I tend to start a game and sometimes I won't even finish them.
Yeah, like even Final Fantasy VII, this game that the remake that everybody says is one of the best games ever made, and oh wow, it's one of the best games this generation, and you got to play it. Like I play it, but I'm just like, I don't know, I just don't stick it out. Whereas very few games have held my attention. Like Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us 2 held my attention, and Metal Gear Solid, 3 and 4 held my attention, but I struggle with a lot of games to a degree. Even like my favorite games, like God of War 2018. Like, if it wasn't for the story, I would have lost interest very quickly. I don't know. It's weird. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely happens to everyone. But let's move on and get Crispy out of the way. What's up, man?
What's going on? Yeah, let's just get Crispy out of the way. Yeah. How's it going, everybody? Yes, it is my second time here, and it is always enjoyable. We have good gaming talk. Yes, I feel like I'm going to be on that Xbox island for myself, but you know, I keep it real, and that's what I enjoy about it because you guys keep it real also. And yeah, it's a pleasure. Yes, I've been. I actually dabbled in some Dying Light the other night. Where's Dying Light 2? That's a good question to ask because you know that was supposed to come out a while ago, and then you know some MK11. Me and my girlfriend had some serious fight night last night, so we got it in. And then Gears 5, of course. You know I always jump into that on the multiplayer. But I'm a multiplayer gamer. It sounds like I'm gonna be talking to a bunch of single player gamers, but that's cool. I love it.
You know, you weren't supposed to be the only person that likes Xbox. I was trying to get FC on, but again, every time I try to get that man on, it just seems like it can't work out those days.
It's all good. Like, I played PlayStation for half my life, so
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, it is what it is. Like that's all I had back then was single player games. So I get what you guys love. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally was a huge guy, at least with Gears of War 3, but once the 4 and 5 dropped out, it's like,
Hear me?
that's me taking my time.
Oh, I heard you that time, Doomslayer. Oh, I think he's having mic problems again. You might need a new mic, Doomslayer, but I'm just gonna continue. So, but yeah, Crispy, thanks for coming on. And that Xbox show yesterday was fun. Me being a surprise guest.
Yeah, you just jumped in like through the back door, big time. So
yep.
That was interesting. Yeah, you were very opinionated, which we all appreciate. we need some non Dark Optimus PlayStation knowledge in there once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. But anyways, Lobo, what is up, man?
What is up? Been playing a lot of games lately. Been trying to find the Astrobot and been playing a little bit of Cold War as well.
I'm disappointed you never completed it.
Huh?
You never completed Astrobot?
No, I'm still in the process. It's just that I've been playing other games left to right.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable.
I'm in a similar boat. I've not completed it yet, but I've heard really good things about it. I need to get it played and platinumed. But Saltiest Gaming, my friend on the chat, he's platinumed it and he raves about that game. Says it's really well executed, smaller game.
Yeah, so, big shout outs to Salty and his show, man.
Yeah, he's blowing up, bro.
Yeah, I've seen him. His subscriber count is growing and his view count is growing too. But Doomsayer,
yeah, man.
I hope you're fixed. So I'm gonna get your introduction out of the way, man. I've seen you support my show too, and I've seen you support me on Twitter. But tell everyone what you're playing and where they can find your show at.
Chirp.
Might have to try mobile if you can.
Okay. You might need a switch. You might need to switch whatever you're using, Doomsayer.
Yeah, or like reboot the computer or whatever you're using at this point.
I'm gonna give Doomsayer a second, real quick. Can you even hear us? I don't even know.
I can't hear him at all.
Okay, let's see if it. Well, the joys of live streaming, right?
Yeah, technical problems are a mess, man.
Yep.
Pretty much, like, last night I need to make sure everything's working on my end.
Doomsayer, you're breaking my heart right now, bro. You're a G. Get your head sorted. Come on.
Well, we can't have uneven numbers, man. There's 6 of us here. We gotta keep it even.
Yep.
Doomsayer is such a cool guy, though. He's such a G. He's like so supportive in the Twitter community. Like,
see if I can.
I wonder if Doomsayer, if you can try using like your phone or something to join Discord.
Yeah, that might help out.
If he can hear you, I don't even know.
I'm gonna try sending him a message in Twitter if he can't hear me.
because I feel like he's trying to talk, and it's like
Yeah, I know, and I hear my own echo through him. Okay, so he says he can hear. He says he can hear us.
but we can't hear him.
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're literally like you're constantly skipping. It's like literally like you're getting like 2 letters of a word, and that's basically what's happening right now. It's like 1 letter now.
Damn, Kun in the chat is saying he's using AOL. Damn.
Oh God.
Oh god.
The AOL internet, damn.
It just gave me flashbacks of that.
Yep, I'm pretty sure we've all heard that at some point in our lives. But
ESL.
I guess,
Location.
well, I guess we'll go into the first topic until Doomsayer gets this stuff fixed. But what do you guys say about this? So okay, so we're just gonna go down this list in order. So the first thing I want to talk about was, of course, Sony discontinuing the PS4 in Japan. So I think with this, we could expect the PS4 to be just phased out within like the next year or two completely, with Sony focusing more on PS5. But I know they said that they're going to support the PS4 for a while, or as long as they can, but I think we know that they want to move on as quickly as possible. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on if you guys support this move, if you guys don't really care, or like if you think that they're going to be putting a more emphasis on PS5 now going forward.
Yeah. So to start, they sold over like 100 million PlayStations at this point, and if I recall, it is specifically the Slim model that's still going to be sticking around. Personally, it doesn't bother me much. You know, again, it's been out for 7 years now. I've got my time with it, and I'm sure plenty of other people have as well. And it's not like the console's like disappearing altogether, so if people still want to buy them up in used stores or just second hand, there's that option as well. But they got the PS5 2 consoles out right now at decent price points for people, you know, depending on their financial situation. So again, personally, it's not, you know, that big of an issue for me. It makes sense at this point. So
yeah, I have to agree with that, because the PS4 has been out for a while. But although, in my opinion, I would understand if they would phase out the Slim, but the Pro is still new-ish. So
yeah.
I just kind of don't understand why they didn't just leave the Pro out there.
Yeah, it's kind of the same issue with the One X. You know, I think what some people are saying when it comes to production value and how much it would cost to make the One X versus the One S, and I'm guessing the same situation with the Pro versus the Slim. It's just cheaper at this point. So yeah,
exactly. They're doing what Microsoft already did, and a lot of people are like, why phase out the One X? And you know, I mean, they're using subpar technology at that point. So you know, there's a reason to have that price point with the Slim.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, how we can.
Finally.
You can. Okay, thank God. See, the problem is I can hear you through.
You just took my video.
My wife's phone, but I can't hear you through. Oh, there we go.
Man, it's glad to hear you finally.
Finally.
But
Wait,
hold on.
What the hell just happened here?
technology, my friend. When it works,
it's not sounding like you're getting 1 letter of a word in there. So.
Something happening on your end right there, Doomsayer?
Turn his thing off.
But oh, I guess he has some people, has some company in his room. But
yeah.
But Doomsayer, I'm gonna have you hold on your thoughts and get Doom. Never mind. Okay.
Wait. He left. He's back.
I got some weird crap going on here because I don't know what the hell's going on.
You sound good. Everything seems good on our end, but you want to go ahead and get your introduction out of the way, Doomsayer, real quick? Or can he not hear us anywhere?
I don't know.
Alright, let me see here.
I guess more technical issues.
Because I can hear you, but that's through another app. But I can't hear you through the headphones or nothing.
Oh my god.
Try switching to speaker if that can work.
Let me see here.
Problem is the feedback it'll pick up.
Yeah.
What's that again?
Is your headset muted? Have you got a mute button?
My technical issues.
If you gotta stick with speaker, that might help. So make sure you mute it when you're not talking, so we don't hear us talking back to each other.
Is this better?
Yeah.
You sound good. I think that's all that matters.
I have iPods or the earbuds in my ear, but I cannot hear anything coming out of them. I am actually listening to you on the phone.
Well, as long as this works out for us, I mean, it shouldn't really matter. But what do you? I mean, do any of you guys have a problem with how Doomsayer is doing it right now? I mean, I know there might be a delay between what we say and what he has.
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
We're good.
All right,
we're good.
So, Doomsayer, with that, let me get your introduction out of the way, man. You're a really great guy on Twitter. You're very supportive of everybody, and honestly, I've seen your own podcast, and I like what you do with your show. It's just you. You're just talking about whatever you want, and I want to give you some support and a shout out too. That's why I wanted to invite you on to my show.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to work through these technical difficulties and that stuff, but yeah, I mean, I try to support everybody that I can. Creators and that stuff, and I know Crispy Bomb was Logic's, who is my cousin, was trying to hook up with him to play Gears. I think it was like a couple weeks ago and that stuff. I was the middleman in that and that stuff, but I don't think it ever happened or something got in the way of it. So but yeah, I'm trying to work on stuff here to get better, so I can hear a lot better in that. But I don't want to screw anything up with your show. Just keep going, and whatever I can hear, I'll try to chime in as much as possible here.
Yeah, no problem, man. Just we'll roll with it along the way. It's no problem to me. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. And
I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. So let's go back to what you were saying, Crispy. I'm not sure if you remember where you were in your train of thoughts.
Well, I mean, the 1S was still in development when they discontinued the 1X and the SAT edition, which was interesting because the SAT edition is an all-digital console, which I feel like it would have almost been like, okay, first off, why didn't you leave the SAT edition in there and got rid of the 1S? Because you're trying to push your digital sales. It makes absolutely no sense. But they're still trying to hit that price point of the physical market, and the 1S does that for them. I'm waiting for them to discontinue that. As far as the PlayStation side, it makes total sense to keep one console at a lower price, a much lower price, in production to help those people that, especially in the times we're in, be able to get a console if they want. And also, clearly PlayStation 5 and Series X and S are very scarce. So, why not have that option? I'm waiting for them to discontinue both. Like that's what I'm waiting for. That's when we say the ramp up of their production is going to be where I can actually get one of these consoles, because I'm still on my Scorpio edition. So I'm waiting for them to go and say, hey, we are ready. We are ready for next gen, because I feel like both are not really ready. Like I feel like they're just constantly, they're putting out the production of what they have and not a production of like a higher amount of people that really want to purchase this, especially in America. We're getting our stimuluses, we're getting our taxes back, everything else.
I know, and you bet people are going to want to spend that. You bet people are going to spend that on the new consoles.
Yeah, I mean, you get $1,200 back. You say, okay, $600 of that, and I pay $600 for one of the other console, buy a couple games that I like, whatever. Like, it makes total sense. But it's like finally, like I feel like PlayStation's like, okay, PlayStation 5 is good. No matter what we've heard or seen on Twitter, it seems like it has died down. Everybody seems to be happy with their console that they enjoy. That's the whole point. Like, there's a point in time where I'm like, is there a problem with it? But it seems like it's died down. Like, they've gotten the ones that have problems fixed, like really, or replaced, one or the other. Like, nobody's really complaining on both sides. You know, you have this one person here or there trying to be fanboying out like an asshole, but it's few and far between now. And now I can see that, you know, with them discontinuing, it makes total sense that they go and say, okay, let's focus on our PlayStation 5, and we have the PS4 Slim, which is probably easy for them to build at this point.
Yeah, and it probably is a lot more cheaper too compared to the Pro. So yeah,
they're probably making a profit off of it also. You know what I'm
saying?
Like that.
Well, isn't that the reason why they're pushing both Xbox and PlayStation are really pushing the disc versions harder than the digital versions, because they're really not making, I don't think it's much money, or they're really losing money. The disc versions, aren't they like making maybe like $10 or $15 off of each of them or something like that?
I think there's still a loss with these new consoles, especially with all the tech inside.
Series X is a loss. Series S, I believe, is also a loss. PlayStation 5, all digital, might not be a loss. It might be breaking even.
Oh, come on, dude. If the Series S is a loss, then surely the PS5 is a loss.
The PS5 digital edition isn't even... There's not that much differentiating from the base PS5, because all it really is, the difference is the Blu-ray drive that's missing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, the technology in the PS5 is basically the same. It's just without a disc drive. But Series X and S are like two totally different machines. Technically, they just have the same architecture as far as like the CPU, which is
look at that heatsink, bro. That's a big ass amount of copper. I mean, you've got like, how much does copper cost? Like a crazy amount.
Yeah, but you have to counteract the heat involved with the disc spinning too. I mean,
yeah, that's true. I think most consoles generally sell as a loss anyway. But the thing with the all digital is that that's going to make Sony more money in the long run. I mean, I've got the disc version because I like my discs, but it makes no sense that they would try. I understand the confusion, because I'm like, surely they'd be pushing the all digital more, because in the long term, digital makes more money than physical. It stops you from buying pre-owned games and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bizarre one. I just think production has been really tough during COVID. Yeah, that's why you get those misleading, news outlets dishing out information that, consoles are dying in Japan, when actually there's just not enough to sell at the moment. Production is terrible.
Yeah.
But more are coming. So we've heard, both on Xbox side and PlayStation side, which is good news. Very good news.
Well, and I mean, the situation we're in right now is like, it's mostly stay-at-home orders, and try to be isolated, and it's like, at certain points you're not going to want to play on your phone. You want to play on your great TV or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, those consoles really push out that power if you're not a PC gamer. So I mean, it makes total sense that these consoles are really in high demand at this point, and I think both of them really do great as far as what we expected. It just I think it's going to continue to get better on both ends, and hopefully we see some purchasing power and everything else come back to the physical, because I feel like I know too many people that love physical so much. I also feel like nobody wants to go out to the store nowadays also.
Yeah, although you say that we had what happened today in the US.
We don't want to talk about that.
That's me right there too.
What happened today in the US?
Well, not today, recently. I don't know if you saw the news with that riot that was going on.
Oh my god.
Honestly, I'm beginning to think that as the world's turning to absolute shit, like, gaming is like the best
It's
thing
like-
to happen.
It's honestly the best thing to do while in COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
But so
don't go out to play video games.
Lobo, I want to get your thoughts, and then I'll get your complete thoughts, Doomsayer, on the topic, and then we'll move on to the next topic. So
Me?
yeah,
So basically, it's like it's not a surprise. I knew that Pro was gonna get discontinued anyway, since we're already in the next gen already. And plus, basically, you could easily buy a PS5 that could play PS4 games. I really don't have an issue with them discontinuing.
all right, yeah, fair. I just thought like it would be like simple for them to probably like make the Pro cheaper to try to like still have something cheaper to sell to people. But with the PS5 being the new hottest thing on the market, it does make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Question is, if the PS5 all digital is only 350 quid, right? Then it's how cheap would they be able to sell the PS4 Pro to justify getting a Pro over all digital PS5? Yeah, and it's just not monetarily feasible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're looking at. I mean, I personally, I think the One X is still relevant, but I don't think the PS4 Pro is. I think the One X can do pretty much everything the Series S is doing right now.
Minus the ray tracing, though. The ray tracing on the
Well,
ray
yeah,
tracing on
but-
the thing is what makes it special.
But yeah, I agree. The ray tracing in Watch Dogs Legion on the Series S, that was mighty impressive for such a small machine to do. But at the same time, like, I think most people would opt for frames over kind of a pretty low end ray tracing.
Well, that's why I haven't upgraded, because it still feels new to me. You know, with my TV setup and everything else, it really feels good. And you know, I'm gonna have to purchase a whole new TV and get the HDMI 2.1, really experience the rest of it. So I'm kind of like, just like, you know what? If I can't get it, like, and I look from time to time, I'm like, you know, I'm in Walmart, I'm like, hey, why not? Because a lot of them aren't even advertising, they have it online, and then all of a sudden you see a freaking Series X sitting there. I've seen many people have that happen. So I always look, but it's like, at the same time, I'm like, well, you know, what am I playing? I'm playing kind of the same games I've always been playing, you know. Yeah, I'll throw one in there here and there, but they look incredible on my One X, my Scorpio edition. They look really good. Like, and yes, the frames aren't quite what they could be on the Series X, but I'm still enjoying it. You know,
this whole Bungie has made Destiny 2 run at 1080p at 60 FPS on the Series S. They could do that on the One X. The One X could easily do 1080p Destiny 2 60 frames a second.
Although, did the upgrades for Destiny 2 are they on the older consoles or?
No,
Well, Destiny 2 upgrade on Xbox is literally the One X version bumped up to 60 FPS. And so the Series S is the One X version, but descaled down to 1080p at 60 FPS.
God.
And
Oh God, come into the chat.
my point is the Destiny 2 is 4K on the One X at 30 FPS. If you quarter the resolution, you can get 60 FPS easily on Destiny 2 on my One X. And I feel like, you know, why haven't I got that 60 FPS upgrade for my One X running at 1080p? I'd happily take that on my One X. So yeah, I feel like the One X is artificially being made irrelevant to kind of justify the Series S, which for me, I just don't see the point of it at all. And it's not getting all the next gen features of the Series X. Like, it's not. The Series S is not getting all the. Watch Dogs Legion is an exception to the rule, but it's not. You know, it's not getting 60 FPS on all games.
yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. When we first played Division 1, like, Ubisoft did great. Like, that game looked incredible. So they kind of cater to certain consoles and their productivity, but at the same time, like, they're also like realistic. And I feel like they kind of nailed it with Watch Dogs because I saw way too much, coming from the Series S more than the Series X when it comes to the ray tracing and everything else. So, I mean, it's really this is the problem we're having. Like, because I see these fights on Twitter about something have a couple frames less than the other, and it's like, but what is the resolution? Like, nobody's even talking about that, and it's like, dude, okay, so you drop 2 or 3 frames on Destiny 2 and you're at 4K resolution, but you're dynamic, you go and you're at 60 locked and the resolution looks worse. I mean, what are we really talking about at that point? Like, it's really the preference of the company. It's really the preference of the company. Like, that's what it is. Like, what they want to push. Like, it seems like Xbox is still trying to push 4K. They're trying to make the Series X become a 4K machine that can be locked 60. And I feel like they probably launched it too far ahead.
I think why people are making an issue of that, Crispy, is purely because here the Series X is literally being given the 1X version, but just 60 FPS, not 30, and it can't do that at a stable frame rate. And if it wasn't for VRS, if your TV supports it, which a lot of people's don't, like you're going to see those frame drops. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather take dynamic resolution, which in all sense of the word is nothing more than a kind of just a title, a name, and doesn't really affect the resolution if your system is powerful enough to keep that dynamic resolution at the higher end of the scale. And with, like, for example, God of War 2018, that's dynamic resolution if you put the disc in without a patch. And if you run it on a PS5, it stays at the highest resolution. It doesn't drop to a lower resolution to compensate.
But I will combat what you just said, that God of War is a first-party studio, just like Gears 5 is, especially with the new DLC that just came out.
No, I'm just talking about
I'm gonna let you finish your thoughts off, and then because we kind of got a little bit away from the original topic, because I want to wrap things up with Doomsayer. So just finish your thoughts off. Okay, Crispy.
All I'm gonna say is that, like both companies have great studios that do amazing things with the tech that they have, and they clearly have it far before even these third parties. So you have to, we can't really compare first. Right now, it's like Destiny 2 is a third-party game, regardless if it's in Game Pass or not. And it seems like it's running better on the PlayStation 5, let's be honest. But they're talking about frames per second, not resolution. So I don't know where it lies. It's just like what Cyberpunk was looking better on the Xbox than the PlayStation. Like, we're at this point where it's just a crossroad of gaming. Like, we don't know what's better on what, and it's kind of crazy. And if you don't have the TV or nothing, you ain't gonna tell anyway.
All right. Anyways, so Doomsayer, do you have anything to say, or should we move on?
Listen, I just got the PS5 last week. I'm enjoying Astrobot on it, but as for discontinuing and PlayStation discontinuing the Pro, that's good business, because if anything, what they're going to do is they're going to push the regular PS4 this holiday to make as much money as they can off of that. I don't think they're going to be releasing God of War this year. I think that's going to get pushed for another year or so. But if they have Horizon, and Horizon comes out on both the PS5 and PS4, well, if you sit there and you sell that as a bundle, I mean, just imagine the money that they're making off of that. But I mean, otherwise, you can go ahead and move on to the next one.
All right, man. Well, thanks for giving your thoughts. And real quick, I just want to shout out everyone in the chat, and I just want to say thank you guys for sharing the stream and supporting the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because I'm trying to grow my channel more. So yeah, but let's move on to the next topic. Going after what Crispy brought up with Xbox, I want to talk about the Xbox controller lawsuit that's been going on. So it seems like currently Microsoft is seemingly wanting to avoid this lawsuit, like it's not really a thing, and just trying to ignore the situation completely, kind of like Nintendo's doing with the Joy-Con drift. And to that, I like having experienced Joy-Con drift with Nintendo ignoring it pissed me off, because there's like no fucking way to like fix it permanently. And also, I see people worrying about the PS5 controller. Like there's like some stories coming out of the PS5 controller breaking. But the reason I want to talk about this is because I kind of feel like I've said that companies shouldn't be trusted, and the fact that Microsoft and Nintendo don't want to fix their issues with their controllers, it just kind of scummy to me. Because like it would be better for people if there was like some way of like, I don't know, like sending them in to get repaired or something, but they don't offer that. Instead, you need to buy either new Joy-Cons or a new Xbox controller. But I don't know. Like I know Crispy Bomb, he plays on Xbox. I don't know if he's experienced his controllers suffering from drift. So I'm gonna go to him first, and then I'll get to you guys. So, do you have anything to say about the controller drift situation?
I have experienced drift. Also, you know, there's a whole app involved, because I've experienced it on my Elite controllers, especially the Elite Series 1, not the Elite Series 2 as of now. But I've also learned about dead zones and everything else. That, you know, it kind of eliminates that if you know what you're playing with the dials and everything else. I will say that Microsoft kind of playing this, you know, fine print game, as I like to call it, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the fine print. But they're saying that, you know, everybody that's purchased controller or everything else has agreed to the Microsoft service agreement, and it's a bunch of bullshit. Same for Nintendo. Nintendo's had even more problems, you know, because you're talking about, you know, a console that, you know, it's so hard to find these things that you need that you continue to look and you can't find it, and it's been like this for a long time lately. So I don't know, like a controller, if you buy the Elites, I definitely am like, yeah, there's a problem, but you don't have those options that I have with the Elite. And once I close off the dead zone and everything else, it becomes a different like controller. It basically has no movement. So really, it's still not made correctly in my opinion. But you know, if you're having those problems on the you know, the Series X controller or even the Xbox One controllers that are not Elite Series, there's a problem. Well, let's be honest about it. Got to fix it. Well, the one thing they're doing is they're replacing like everything now. They're basically doing a 360 status. Like I hear people all the time, like I was out of warranty and they replaced my controller, and I'm like, really? So I can go and replace because my B button stuck? Nope. It's got to have to do with the stick drift, you know. So I don't know what's going on. All I know is like these companies use their lawyers for a reason, which is just sad.
Yeah, and from my experience with what happened with my Joy-Cons, I had to take them apart and buy a piece from an outside source, and it definitely wasn't enjoyable, because especially nowadays, because controllers cost as much as a game, it's like it's a crappy situation. Like I'd rather spend that money on a game, not having to fix this tech that's supposed to work.
But you can't really fix stick drift. Like I had an Astro C40, and let me tell you, right, everything about that controller, it is perfect. But it broke my freaking heart, because the back buttons are the best back buttons on any controller, hands down. Like it makes you better at aiming and shooting than using the triggers. It's quicker, it's faster, it's quicker to click repeatedly. They're amazingly. It's a robust controller. It feels beautiful in the hands. But the analog module sticks are an absolute diabolical mess, and they come in the sticks come in these modules, these portable modules that you can swap out and move around if you want your C40 to resemble the Xbox layout or the PlayStation layout. But they're broke. They're fundamentally broke because of the drift. You can't play games with them after a week of using it, and drift makes your game unplayable. But messing around with dead zones, it just puts you at a permanent disadvantage. If you've got a huge dead zone to try and eliminate drift, you can't enjoy the game, in my opinion. Well, I couldn't anyway, and so I twice, after getting 2 C40 controllers, twice I got refunds, and eventually I just gave up, and I said I can't recommend this product. You got to recall it. There's nothing more annoying than stick drift. Nothing.
Did you manage to get a refund on that, or?
Yeah. I got a refund. I just stuck with the DualShock 4, and it works a treat. But it's a shame because I really liked those back buttons on the C40 and the overall feel of the controller. It's beautiful to use. Just them analog modules, man. They're fundamentally flawed.
Now, you see, you're lucky you got a refund, but the difference with the Nintendo and Xbox right now is that I don't think people are getting a refund for their controllers, so it's just a...
Yeah. Well, Astro C40, they're a private company, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not like one of these guys who can get away with pulling dirty shit like that.
Yeah, so it seems like the smaller companies will actually care about like their consumer base.
Well, Argos don't have a choice. They have I got mine from Argos, which is a shopping kind of franchise in the UK. I don't know if you have Argos in the US, but they don't have a choice. Their refund policy is if you're not happy with the product within 30 days, you can return it if it's if it's not clothing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's a really good refund policy.
Yeah, and I wish other companies could have better refund policies, but you don't get what you want sometimes. So, Triple,
I agree.
Do you have anything to say about this? Have you experienced any drift with a Xbox controller, or no?
So I got the One X, not the One X, Series S controller, and I haven't experienced any issues. But that being said, back when I was playing on the Xbox One, I recall having joystick issues. I can't recall specifically if it was with the controller that came with the system or if it was like an off-brand. I think the joysticks were different in terms of like, they were sticking out, not concave. And I had bought a Gears of War controller, the red one, a special edition, but I bought it used. And after a while, that one also had drifting issues. But in those two instances, I don't know if those were like official. I mean, the Gears one is official, but that's secondhand, and the other one was off-brand. So in terms of brand new from Microsoft, no. The same thing with Nintendo. I have the Pro controller and I also have the Joy-Cons with it, and I haven't had any issues with those. But if I'm to be honest, I really didn't know Microsoft specifically was having issues with joystick drift. I've heard more so about like issues with the Elite controller just having button issues, or the grips were coming off very easily. So I've heard more issues with the Elite versus like their general controller. So honestly, I can't really speak too much on this. So it's actually kind of surprising to hear it, but it is also just kind of crappy if it's widespread enough too, and the companies refuse to like actually approach it properly for their consumers. It is, like you said, pretty scummy. Like, I can understand occasionally having issues, but if a lot of people are actually saying something about it, then yeah, it really needs to be addressed. And just trying to find ways around it is just how do you do that, So.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's the one with Microsoft. It's not that widespread of an issue compared to Nintendo, where like with every Switch, there's guarantee with the Joy-Con drift. Or I don't know what the percentage is for the Xbox controller is, so it must not be as bad as Nintendo's though. So
I do have to ask the panel, like, out of all the lawsuits, at least when it comes to consumers, and not so much so with like company versus company, how many lawsuits have the consumers won, or I guess in the favor of consumers, if you guys know? 'Cause that's one thing.
I'm not too sure about that actually.
I'm not sure. Me neither.
They usually try to settle out of court. It's kind of what Microsoft's trying to do right now, having an arbitrator involved. So that they're just trying to play this, we have more lawyers game, which I'm not a fan of. I mean, I really am not. Like, good.
Mhm.
At the same time, they are replacing these controllers even out of warranty. The one thing I'll say is that this lawsuit was actually brought up from the Elite Series 2, if I'm not mistaken, to begin with. So, the Elite Series 1 had major issues with all kinds of things, including RB button. The bumpers would break easily. You drop that shit once, you're done. Like you're not able to use the RB. Like I replaced on my my Gears 4 Elite custom controller. I replaced the bumpers on it, and they still broke because it was the same technology that they used, because that was the only thing that would fit. So I wasn't happy about that. That's why I've had 5 Elite controllers, because there's something that's had happened to them. Okay, so the only problem that I've had is that I got used to Elite controller, and I love the back bumpers and everything, and I was like, I can't live without this. I just don't. I don't know how. You know what I mean?
How much do they cost, Crispy?
Yeah.
So the Elite 1 was 150. The Elite 2 is 180. And
Holy crap!
You spent over $750 on controllers.
Like that.
Well, I got a couple replaced. I mean, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's been five controllers. I've had 2 replaced. I had 1 stolen that was brand new. So
you know what, dude?
Happened.
For all that trouble, you know what you deserve? You deserve a new exclusive.
That's a new Xbox. I mean, that's the thing that like confuses me.
You're gonna bring the exclusives. See what I just said?
All right.
So with the controllers for so much, it amazes me how they have so many technical problems, especially when they did like a whole I think it was with the second controller. It's like, yeah, we put it through hundreds of thousands of hours in our test areas, and then you find.
Well, that's just PR. That's just all PR talk.
So, yeah, I'm just like saying, like, you put that out there, let people, and it's like it still fails. And again, it's 150, 180. Like, you shouldn't, or at least for me, like, you shouldn't be having issues like that. I've had cheap.
Well, I will say this, and this is the only defense I have for the Elite controllers, is that there is so much involved in that app that actually affects the controller itself. If you screw up how you place like those dials and what settings you have in it, it can really be so sensitive that you literally put your thumb on the controller and it's going to make it like do all kinds of wild stuff. Like, that's how sensitive you can make them. So I've learned better. Like, I've been like, okay, like the dead zone and all that stuff, like you can't have everything ramped up to its highest level, because if you do, you're going to touch it and you're going to put your thumb on it and it's going to be like, wham, we're going to do whatever we want. You know what I mean? And that's the weird thing. Like, and I understand like some of you guys haven't experienced that, like, unless you have like the it's like an Elite controller for PlayStation. Like, it's made by a different company, but it's similar, if not the same. If you haven't had one of those, like, there's a whole app. Like, dude, like, I literally change every single button, whatever I want, like every single one. So there's a lot involved, and you have to play with it. And if you don't, if you're just like, okay, like, I'm gonna put it to this setting, and that's gonna be it, you might think that there's some kind of issue, even though it's like you like putting your thumb on and taking it off, and it moved the stick one way, and you're turning by yourself because it's so sensitive. Like, it's a little weird. Like, it's something that you have to get used to. But after having so many bumpers break on me, I'm like, well, the stick drift, is it real? Is it me just ramping up everything so I could turn around as quickly as almost a PC player? Like, because when you do that, you're gonna have that stick drift, because the stick is not a mouse. Like, it's not. You got to move the mouse to get it to do anything. Like, this is like, you know, you hit that stick, and let's say it just, you know, slightly goes to the left. It's gonna continue to go to the left. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. At that defense, it's something you have to experience to understand. And once I've kind of toned down everything, found my settings, I've had no issues. Just that, you know, I spilt a beer one night and my B button is stuck, and that's my own damn fault. That's the way I look at it.
Oh gosh.
Crispy, did you ever think about buying, or have you ever bought a scuff controller? And then, is the Elite controller, does it actually make you a better player? I mean, does it make, because I know you with Gears of War and that, does it make it easier to, you know, to pick up the game and do, you know, the tricks and everything
all
in
bouncing.
Gears. I mean, is
So once you find your settings, okay, like me, I only use 2 paddles. I don't use all 4. Okay, and I have 1 paddle because you can go into the settings. You can have your main weapon switch, so I can go from Gnasher to Lancer and back and forth just by hitting my 1 paddle on my left. And my right paddle is my A button, which is just, you know, wall bouncing, hitting cover, everything, you know, jumping, whatever. And the one thing advantage you have is that you need both sticks to actually move in Gears of War. So me not having to lift my finger to put it on the A button is actually an advantage in my opinion. And the only reason why I don't that's why I don't go to non-PC gaming. I will play PC players. Yes, they usually beat me, but I'm so competitive, and that's what matters to me.
Well, Doomsayer, since you decided to hop in, I want to get your thoughts about the drift situation.
let's see. My 19-year-old, he's had 2 Elite controllers, the second ones, and both he sat there and said that he's had drift problems. He doesn't play on Xbox anymore because he has the gaming PC I used to have. As for, I mean, I have an Elite controller. Honestly, I can't sit there and say that I don't have any problems with the Elite controller because I really don't play my Xbox at all. I mean, I have a Series X. I'm waiting for the Medium to come out to play, but otherwise I don't play it.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
only have it for
But
exclusives. I mean,
do you think that Microsoft should go back and like try to actually address this and be fair to the consumers, though?
Well, I mean, listen, I've heard other podcast guys sit there and say how Xbox is so consumer, friendly and is all about the consumer. Well, if they're all about the consumer, why aren't they going back and doing this for the consumer then? I mean, that's kind of, crappy to sit there and do it. It's a pro-consumer move. I've heard it all over the summertime how Sony was so anti-consumer in this, but yet Microsoft was so pro-consumer. Well, then Microsoft put the money where your mouth is. Do what the consumers want you to do. Fix your controller and that stuff. If you're all about us, gamers and that, then do it. I don't see what the problem is. I mean, they did, what was it, when the Red Ring of Death, it was going to cost over $1 billion in that, and I forget the guy's name, Ballmer, I think it was. This isn't going to cost you billions of dollars, but fix the controllers. I don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring this up, to be honest. It's just I think it's just more like a minor inconvenience for people more than anything. But
now, see, you guys got me scared on the Nintendo thing because I just got a Switch a couple months ago, and you're telling me about the Joy-Cons, and I went and I bought their Elite controller.
Well, they don't have a problem with their Elite controllers. It's just the Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Joy-Cons themselves.
So you don't need to worry on that end.
Yeah.
Another thing too is I beat the hell out of my controllers. I had the original Xbox Elite, and I'm not 100% sure if my wife is listening or not, but I had that. Basically, I caused it to explode over Battlefield 1, so it didn't last too long because Crispy sat there and said with the buttons sticking, but see, that was because of beer. I don't know why my buttons were sticking, but they, the triggers just kept on sticking, and the rubberized or the plastic kept on coming off the the sticks and that. So I threw it against the wall and it exploded, and we're still finding pieces today. So.
Oh my god, that's quite a story.
Well, Spider-Man did that back in March. I had a Midnight Blue PlayStation controller, and that one I'm still finding pieces over the basement too. So.
Oh my god.
God, it sounds like you have some.
He's an angry gamer. That's what
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I'm not an angry gamer. It's just at that point,
It was the controller.
Spider-Man just pissed me off, and I'm usually pretty calm.
All right.
Alright.
Well, hopefully your wife's not listening in to this. Maybe that's why she would be curious why you're buying so many controllers.
Oh god. Maybe so.
know the stash I have in the entertainment center here. So
It was a grenade that went off the wall real quick and just went boom, and then all of a sudden you're finding pieces like 6 months later, and you're like, "Oh, that was to that controller, yeah."
Oh, hey, look what I found.
hey, the unfortunate part is we're still finding pieces of an iPhone from a couple years ago that accidentally exploded too. So.
What the?
How do you? How?
It's like the same wall that just constantly just designates.
I know 3.
God damn! Your luck with explosions, though.
Wow.
Well, I guess I could add that to the crazy stories I've heard now for this year.
I'm in construction. I got a plumbing / fire sprinkler background. We've lit cans of PVC glue on fire and watched them explode. Dynamite, things like that. So that's all in the past, though. That's when I was younger. So.
All right, I'll go to you, Lobo, and then we'll move to the next topic. So, what do you have to say about this drift situation?
Well, I also have an Xbox controller that bought about 2 years ago. I haven't had an issue even when I was playing games on my PC. I don't have any issues. But I was in that same page with you, Callie. What was it? I destroyed my my Joy-Con, all because I got raged in Mario Kart, and I had to replace the one what was it?
The Joy-Con, I think it was the right one.
Yeah, no, it was the left one I destroyed, and I had to replace it. And boy, I can tell you, it was not a fun experience to replace it.
Was that in multiplayer? I hope.
Yes, it was in multiplayer.
He got blue shelled. He got blue shelled.
Sure.
You got the cross finish line and blue shell.
Yeah. Oh no, better yet, I got hit with a banana peel.
Damn, rip this man.
But back to the whole thing. I think Microsoft should replace every drift controller, just like how Doomslayer was saying that if Microsoft is pro-consumer, why can't they just replace every controller that's causing the drift?
The only thing I was saying, this isn't like to be a defense from, I would assume it might be a little too hard to say if it's from just like user usage from natural wear and tear versus I got it fresh out of box and a week later it's starting to have issues with me. So, but I mean, cost wise,
which I've seen actually, I've seen a lot of people like say like they've had, but like I said, like if you haven't played with the settings, like it usually comes out like you boot up the app and it's 10 dead zone and everything else. Like I said, you touch the sticks and it just like does whatever it wants because it's really responsive. It's truly, it's not a mouse. Like a mouse, you have to actually move the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like This is like you touch it and you kind of you veered it to the right and it's just going to keep going right, and you veer it to the left, it's going to keep going left until you stop it. And that's what I experienced. And don't get me wrong, the Elite One is definitely an issue with stick drift, but more importantly, I had major issues with the bumpers. Like every single one of them, some kind of bullshit happened with the bumpers, and I was not happy. This has no issues, but the stick, if you have it too high up in settings, like if you want it to be super responsive, you got to deal with that. You constantly have to have your finger on the stick and just be, moving this and that. Like you can't take it off. You can't like take a rest. Like that's the thing.
So now my question, because at least for me, I'm using the standard, and the little times I do put into Gears 5, all I do, I have a basic controller, so I just adjust the sensitivity in game. So, I mean, having the controller itself adjusted and the settings in the game adjusted, like you said, Willie.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, so you play Gears 5, you have it all at 30, then you have the dead zone maxed out. Then you have you could change the sensitivity to like maxed out, and then like literally like you could touch the freaking thumbstick and it will just do whatever it wants. If you're not having constantly your thumbs on the thumbsticks, it will completely do whatever it wants because it's so sensitive that your movement to the left will continue. because like these thumbsticks stick on like every console at least a little bit, and the thing is this thing's so sensitive that it makes people think that it's stick drift when really it's just the play in the actual thumbstick itself, and that's what it does. But maybe they need to ramp down what they're doing with the apps and stuff like that, and kind of, you know, be able to have, you know, the game itself supersede everything else, because you're playing with the sensitivities in the game, you're playing with sensitivities on the actual controller and the app, and it becomes a problem for people, and it's too much like BS involved. And I can kind of agree with that. Like, it's like too much. Like, it's like, what do I do?
Sounds more like an annoyance than anything. But all right, let's move on to the next topic, because
Hey, Cal, I
yeah.
make a suggestion. If Microsoft is listening to this, they can hire my 5-year-old if they need somebody to test out their controllers, because he's beaten 3 controllers up, and that's exactly what happens with his. He has a bad stick drift on his. I mean, you know, playing Paw Patrol, and all of a sudden, you know, you're not moving, but yet your player is moving, and the stick is just so bad. So if they want to hire him, they're more than likely they can go ahead.
Who knows? If Microsoft's listening to this. I mean, I could pray, I could hope that they're listening in. But yeah. But all right. Thanks for that input, and hopefully someone takes that to note. I think with you, I think especially with you and your exploding technology, someone should hire you to test out stuff. But yeah.
No, I'm okay where I'm at.
All right.
6 my work hours. So.
All right. Well, the next topic I want to talk about is scalpers. Now, we all know how bad the scalpers were at the beginning of the console launches, and well, it seems like maybe now the sales for scalpers are going down, because it seems like scalpers are dropping down the prices of the PS5 and Xboxes, and I think this either has to do with Christmas now being gone and over with, since mostly around the Christmas time was when people just buy a bunch of stuff. And also, maybe because Sony and Microsoft are also putting in more stock into the stores. So, I think this is a good thing. What do you guys think? Especially with how hard it's been to get one of these new consoles. And honestly, from my experience, from how hard it was to get the PS5, I'm just happy that other people are finally going to be able to get some. And seeing as how, like, well, right now it's not a perfect time to buy from scalpers, but they're getting close to the original price point of the consoles. But I'll go with you, Triple, first, and then I'll go to you, Wooly.
So yeah, this is definitely a good thing. It's like just the season of trying to get the consoles and just like the struggle to get one. Like, I get the whole, you know, they're trying to do their hustle. For me personally, I'm just like, screw that. Like, you're just screwing over a lot of people that are really trying to get these new systems. So it's good the prices are going down. It's good that people are more able to possibly get one at a reasonable price, which would be the official price. But, you know, I mean, I just checked now. There's still some listed for about $1,500. I'm just like, that's just ridiculous, man. So hopefully, you know, production goes back up, and it's just like few far between where people are trying to sell them at ridiculous prices. You know, I've seen stories of people trying to buy through Facebook and getting ripped off because of that. So, yeah.
There's also stories of people getting robbed from selling those things too.
I mean, if you feel bad for you, I'll be honest right now. It's like, I know it's not the best thing to say, but if you're on Twitter, you're posting, you got a wall of PlayStations or Xboxes, and you're bragging about it, and something happens, I'm just like, I don't condone violence, but I mean, at the same time, you gotta put yourself out there, so it's whatever.
All right, that's fair.
Again, you know, it's good that the prices are going down for people. I would still say just wait for more to restock, unless you don't care to drop maybe 700, if not 800. That's your money to spend, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think from buying from scalpers is a bad idea, because it kind of just supports them even more to do this stuff.
And again, for some people, they got ripped off. They'll buy it, and I think one person, they bought the PlayStation, then I think it was on Facebook Marketplace, and they just like ghosted instantly once they got the money. They just blocked them or deleted the account. So I would just say don't even mess with them. Like you said, like the more people that buy through scalpers, the more it kind of validates what they're doing, because they're making a return off of their investment. So, and with these companies not putting options in place to actually try to keep less bots and people just scooping them up like that, you know, it's just a mess. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to get your thoughts on this. Have you had any trouble with scalpers recently? Like when you came to getting the new consoles?
All I'll say is thank goodness for a backlog of games, because if I didn't have a PS5, there is no way on this planet I would ever buy off a scalper. They don't deserve your money. They don't deserve a single good thing coming to them, because inherently they're greedy and just selfish and everything bad I can think of. But I have a friend who sent me £450 asking me to keep it safe for when a PS5 comes along. And one day I got a message going, Wooly, this guy, he's promising me a PS5, and I was like, do not do it, dude. Just do not do it. He'll either run off with your money, or you're paying extra for what you're giving a guy money that doesn't deserve it. Just hold off. And he's like, you know what, you're right. I think from what I've seen on Twitter, the general consensus is people are, though desperately wanting a PS5 or a next gen console, that they're happy with the backlog that they've got, so they're happy to wait until more come in stock. That's what I've picked up on the majority of people. They'd much rather wait for an official sale of the console.
I think that could also contribute to the fact of why some of the scalpers are dropping their prices too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's by sticking to that sort. I think just thank goodness for a backlog. Thank goodness for a backlog of amazing games.
Yep.
To catch up on, and that's the saving grace, really. That people who haven't, for whatever reason, say, got a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, they have a reason to still get one even now. They have a reason to get one, and then that's because they can play Neo 2, The Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man, all these exclusives and all these amazing multiplats as well. That they have a reason to buy a current gen a previous gen console on the cheap, or you can pick up an Xbox and get Game Pass really cheap if you don't want to wait for an Xbox Series X. To be honest, I'd just say it's more worth just waiting to get an Xbox Series X than buying for 250 quid an Xbox One X or an Xbox Series S. I'd say it's just, you're better off just waiting to get the more powerful console, because otherwise you're kind of losing out on a opportunity to play future content.
Yeah, no. I think everyone on the panel's probably going to agree with you there too.
Yeah. I would say there's definitely a reason to hold off getting a PS5, because although I have an Xbox One X, I'm primarily a PlayStation gamer, and a lot of the people I follow on Twitter are primarily PlayStation gamers, because you do what you do. But for the consensus among that community that I've seen is, those who haven't got a PS5 just yet, they're gutted, they're disappointed, they're annoyed, they're frustrated, but at the same time, they've got games. They've got games to play. They've got a backlog, and they're happy. And so, you know what? I'm like, just don't buy from scalpers. Just don't do it.
Yep.
It's easy for me to say though, because I was one of the very lucky ones on the day one that they became available. I was extremely lucky at 3 o'clock in the morning to secure one. So it's easy for me to say. I understand that it must be really frustrating for those who haven't got one yet, and I can only say that. I can't imagine how frustrating it must be when everybody else is enjoying one, or they're saying, just completed Demon Souls, and they're like, I've still got it on my shelf waiting to be played.
And hopefully with the holiday season now being over, because that's usually the point where there's highest demand for this stuff, hopefully more people can have better luck at getting the new consoles too.
I really hope so, man. I really hope so.
Let's get Crispy's thoughts on this, man.
Well, I mean, let's be serious. scalpers are crazy. They got these electronic bots that go in there and buy for them. Like it's pretty wild how they go about like their business, and for them to be dropping prices, which I've actually seen myself, especially on eBay, kind of funny to me because I'm like I'm gonna buy from an official retailer, not some asshat that decided to buy 50 freaking PS5s and, you know, sitting there like, yes, I'm going to make a bunch of money. Well, you made a bunch of money for a while. You're still sitting on a shit ton of money that you already spent and can't use. You can't do anything with it. It's kind of laughable at this point. And what I'd say to people is do not buy from these people. Just don't. Unless it's the exact same price, it's somebody that's confirmed whatever website you're on as being legitimate. I would not do that because most of these websites at this point have a legitimate person that's sold on there before, and everybody's had a grand old time, got their console, they got whatever purchase they made. You got to do your research. You just can't sit there and be like, oh my God, I can get one for $500. Then all of a sudden your $500 is gone. They send you an empty box or something. And you have to literally go through court and stuff to like get it back. Like people don't realize as soon as it hits your door, it becomes like almost a small claims court case.
Yep.
You can't do anything really because even though it's on the internet, the only thing you can hope for is a refund from the actual company that you purchased the product from. Especially if it's somebody that's just scalping and just throwing stuff out there. So you got to understand that if somebody wants their money, they're going to try to get it, and then they're going to delete their account, and they're going to do whatever, and then it's going to be even harder to trace and everything else. So I don't do that stuff. I like I said, I'm fully content with my Scorpio. I got some end dust today. I'm about to go ham on that, make it run even better than it has. But it hasn't failed me, and the games still look amazing. And if you're content with that, don't purchase. Don't purchase from assholes that are trying to. I mean, how many pictures I've seen of like 50 to 100 PS5 sitting in front of them, like, oh, I'm the greatest thing in the world. No. You get the middle finger to your mouth, bitch, and shut up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, you don't purchase that from that fucking person. And, especially the times we have, shame on them. Shame on them to, you purchase 5 consoles and you sell all 5. You don't even have consoles yourself. Fine by you. You're trying to make money for real. These people got like 50, 100 consoles in front of them. And they're like, oh, I'm the greatest thing in the world. And it's like, why are you going to support that? He's not the greatest thing in the world. He's an asshole. There you go.
Well,
sorry, dude.
Crispy with the heat take right there. And yeah,
because I wouldn't do that to anybody. Because like me, I'm the type of person that, let's say I somehow got 2 Series X's, and one of y'all hit me up and said, "Hey, I'll buy that off you." I'd be like, "Yo, give me money plus the tax involved." It'll be like $530, something like that, because I live in Connecticut and they tax the shit out of us. Give me the money and tax involved, and you can have one, because I got 2 and I wasn't expecting it. And that's what I've had a lot of people do for other people in the community. And it's like, why do you got to be an asshole? Like, get your money back. Okay, you charge somebody $50 to $100 just to put it in your pocket. Still, you're being legit with somebody that you'd be like, hey, look, I want to make a little money off this, but I'm not trying to fuck you over. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. Sorry.
You're good.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Like, dude, like, we're all gamers at the end of the day. Like, I'm not sitting here being like, oh, I'm playing on my Scorpio and I have a Series X sitting in my back room, waiting to be sold because it's sealed and in the box. Hell no. That shit getting booted up in my system. Well, some of these people are just like, oh, I have all these consoles that are all sealed up and I'm not playing either of them and I'm just trying to sell them all. Well, that's messed up, dude. You ain't even a gamer, yo. To the bushes, mother trucker. To the bushes.
To the bushes. All right. Well, thanks for your thoughts about that. Thanks for your thoughts about that, Crispy. And Doomsayer, since you're speaking, I'll have you give your opinion on this.
I'm just going off of what he was saying. Just imagine these scalpers, and you go and you buy one, and all of a sudden, something happens. The disk drive, because there's, all these, videos and everything else. One is, I guess somebody's Series X, was able to figure out how to start vaping. I didn't.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He asked for a pass.
The Blu-ray drive and the PlayStation was going. Anyway, just think, if you're actually having problems, you're kind of screwed, because now you don't have a warranty in that you bought it off of a scalper. You have no warranty. You can't take it back to, GameStop, Best Buy, wherever you got it. So you're screwed. The scalper gets, whatever money it is. I sat there and saw, there was a picture on Twitter. It was like somebody had like 3,500 PlayStations, and it was going up the steps and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I hope he gets robbed. I hope he gets robbed at gunpoint to sit there and say, hey, you know what? Give me all the PlayStations, because I don't understand why people are doing this. Maybe not the gunpoint, but I don't understand it. It's you're taking away. Just think, if you could have taken some Xboxes, some PlayStations. I live literally 5 minutes away from Chop. Okay, I'm right outside of Philadelphia. I'm 5 minutes down. You don't know if those kids, you could have brought some kind of enjoyment to those kids, that are sick in that stuff, and whatever else. And then there's other people, that have kids, Wooly, expecting. You want to sit there and you want to give your kids everything that you can. And if it was a PlayStation or an Xbox or whatever it is, they're disappointed. You took that. Listen, with my 5-year-old, it's great, seeing him and open up presents and things like that, saying, "Oh my God, I got this," and it's great. You get such enjoyment out of seeing your kids being happy, and scalpers are taking that away from you. So I mean, somebody told me that Sony was, if you bought one from a scalper, they were actually like bricking them or something like that they couldn't work no more. Well, I mean, hey, you got to do something about it, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, fair. And I think, again, like with everyone else seems to be on board with scalp. You shouldn't support scalpers, and it just ends up, if you do buy from them, they could have the potential of fucking you over.
Yeah, big time, big
Yep.
time.
But before we go to you, Lobo, I just want to say, Kun in the chat, I think he's honestly the funniest viewer, because he just put in the chat, scalpers need love too, guys. But yeah, I just gotta thank Kun for coming out and supporting every episode he's been. But yeah, Lobo, just give me your thoughts and then we'll go to the next topic, okay?
All I could just say, fuck the scalpers. Like, literally, they're just ruining everyone's enjoyment. And thank God I was able to get a PS5 without getting scalped. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I remember you asking me to help you out because you had trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I didn't know if you wanted one, because I had to. Actually, here's the story about that. After I bought the first PS5 on Amazon, I actually got a second one.
What'd you do to that one?
Well, the one I got at Amazon just canceled it because I didn't know if anyone wanted one. I've been trying to see if anybody wanted a PS5. Nobody was hitting me up.
I mean, you could have waited. I mean, there are a bunch of people still on Twitter asking for one.
Yeah, right.
On a trigger.
See, but that's where I go and say there's a difference between a scalper and somebody like me who'd be like, okay, I get that PS5 and then I'll pay for my Series X and whatever the hell else I want. Because, like I was looking for PS5s too, because I was like, you know what, that single player life, that's not me, and I'm into the games I like, and they play really good on my One X, and I was like, oh, let me purchase this and then fund my Series X and sell somebody a console they want, and that's all I was thinking about it. But that's the whole weird thing. It's like, you see these crazy people. They're like, hey, we have my entire basement full of PS5s, and it's like, yo, are you serious, dude? Like, you are literally taking away from, it feels like, hundreds, if not thousands of gamers because you want to make money.
Yep.
And I hope it bites them in the ass. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. But
There's some dope multiplayer games coming out, Crispy, on PS, bro. You should get a PS5 when you can. There's some dope multiplayer games coming out.
Well, we'll see. I'm not opposed to PlayStation. That's the whole point. But I remember when PlayStation was at the forefront of multiplayer gaming, and I don't feel like they're at that now. It's almost like, let's release a DLC with multiplayer aspects in it after they've created a great game that's single player. And I don't like that. And then that's why I get pissed when people judge a game like Gears and say, well, the multiplayer got a 6 of 10, but the single player got an 8 of 10. And it's like, okay, well, why don't we do this with the other games? I'm a little confused. I'm just saying, like, it's a little confusing to me. I'm not saying that it's wrong, because I actually was pissed about Gears 5 multiplayer, but most people clamored the single player, and then all of a sudden their score gets dropped because they have, most of these big sites have separated the single player multiplayer, and I'm like, well, they launched with both, so what about that? Does that make a difference? Apparently not.
I just want to say, well, I see what you're trying to do. They're trying to persuade Crispy to get a PS5 right there.
But 100%. No, only because go on, Triple.
I was just saying, if he happens to get one, he doesn't want it to hit me up. That's
it. Oh, look at you trying to come up. But
100%. But no, but that.
I will. There you go.
But
don't forget, right? Neo 2, right, has some insane multiplayer. What about the game coming out on PS Plus for free next month? Coming. Destruction All Stars.
Oh, I'm excited for that game. I think that's gonna be. I think that's gonna probably be like a minor hit, like Fall Guys was.
That's gonna blow up like Rocket League, like for real. And
Possibly
on PS Plus is the best decision they could have made.
But
100%.
But okay.
I mean, what is it? Fall Guys? I mean, that has blown up over there, right?
Yeah, it did. But it also kind of fell off because of Among Us.
Fell off. I see what you did there, bro. Fall Guys. Fell off.
Yep. I got puns. I got puns on the show. But all right, I want to move on to the next topic, which, to be honest, I kind of found the most interesting because I didn't expect to happen, and that's Nintendo buying a development studio. Because Nintendo's not really active when it comes to buying developers, like all the other companies are.
But yet they're out here trying to destroy every fan-made games.
That's a completely different topic. That's a completely different topic. I mean, I would be happy to talk about that, but that's a whole other can of worms of itself. But but this developer that Nintendo bought, honestly, it's kind of like the same situation was with Sony buying Insomniac and Microsoft buying Playground Games, who made Forza or the Forza Horizon games.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think it's good because it adds more talent to Nintendo. And honestly, with these people made Luigi's Mansion 3, and that was a big hit for the Switch. So hey, as long as it helps them out in the long run, but it doesn't really change much, though, is what I see. But do you guys think that this will be like? Do you think Nintendo might actually purchase more developers going forward?
Especially developers that make games for them. I think they're really going to go into that because these developers are not well known. A lot of people don't know who they are, and if they've already made a game, especially a Nintendo game, which at this point, we'd say Nintendo has their own niche, and their niche seems to work. So you know, we can all be mad about like the Joy Cons and everything else, but everybody still be playing these games. They be selling out hardcore. Like I think they're seeing what the environment is at this point, and they're saying, let's purchase some of the people that have made games for us so we can keep them in our realm. And I think that's a smart move for them. I mean,
yeah, especially because Nintendo. It's especially because Nintendo does everything in house just by themselves. They don't have many like developers that they've actually bought.
But that's where I go and I get angry about everybody's like, there's another Gears, another Halo. Well, how many Luigis, how many Marios, how many this, how many that you're gonna have on Nintendo's side, and everybody's happy with that. Well, you know what? You might as well keep going with it because everybody's still happy with it, right?
Yep. Right.
Not my bad, dude. Not my bad.
But I mean, most people like they sell like, dude. What is it? Animal Crossing, New Horizon. Oh my God, those game busters. It's basically a cartoony Sims. That's what it is. So it's a super cartoony Sims. That's what it is. And it's just, it blows my mind that people, you know, continue to purchase these games and go and say like, this is fine. It's like, you know, it's got the flames around you. Like, this is fine. Like we're waiting for a Switch Pro because that's maybe when I go and say, you know what, I do enjoy Nintendo games. I haven't played them in a very long time, and these will feel new to me. Maybe having the better graphics and everything else, I would like to see a Switch Pro, but we haven't seen it from them yet. And it's like they're very software-based company, but they also rehash all their software constantly. Look, I feel like, you know, all of a sudden PlayStation drops a SOCOM, a Resistance, something like that. Those feel new to some people. And that's the same thing Xbox could do, but they haven't. Like Perfect Dark, a lot of people were like, oh shit, it's here again. It reemerged. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what I'm saying is like, Nintendo keeps doing the same things over and over again. And it's just like, at some point, either their fan base or everything else can get tired of it, or they're just going to continue to enjoy it. And that's what I feel like they're at right now. They're just going to continue to enjoy all these rehashes, taking Wii U ports, everything else, and making them into Switch ports. And it's just, they continue to make it console that people want to play.
You know what? Right as we went on that Nintendo route, I was thinking to myself, I need a Nintendo guy's opinion on this show. But to be honest, I don't know many Nintendo people in this community, like Nintendo-based YouTubers. But I do have to defend Nintendo a little bit when it comes to Mario. At least they do different types of game modes. Yeah, like it's not all just like platformers or all just like side-scrolling platformers.
They branch out with some of their IPs. Like I know there's Mario Kart 8, and it's the same from the previous Mario Karts with different like
different mechanics and all that.
But like you had Paper Mario, you had Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, Mario Party. So there's different genres for the same IP. Whereas Gears of War, as much as I love it, it's still Gears of War, and that's why it's good. At least with Microsoft, how they branched out the Gears Tactics. Like it's still Gears of War in name, but in terms of how it plays, that makes it feel a lot more fresh. Similar to like with Breath of the Wild.
I agree, 100%.
You had a traditional Zelda, then they branched out to something different. That's kind of why I'm more interested with Halo Infinite, because they're trying something different with the same IP, which again is fine. It's just like you keep the series going, but introduce it to something else. But at the same time, you kind of have like people saying, well, it doesn't feel like a Gears game anymore. It doesn't feel like a Halo game anymore. You don't see that with Mario or Zelda. It's just like it's something new and different with the same characters. So, yeah, it's more so it's just like you got the same IP, just do something different with it.
So since you're talking right now, Triple, what do you think about this purchase by Nintendo? Do you think this will help them out with making new IP and building onto their games that they have already made, like Luigi's Mansion? And do you think going forward, do you think Nintendo will buy more developers?
So the funny thing is with this one, when it comes to Nintendo, when I see like a Nintendo game from them, just like it's from Nintendo. Like I don't think of any other developer. So when they bought the studio for Luigi's Mansion, I didn't really know it was like an outside source. But in terms of doesn't make sense. Like I looked at their track record, like how many Nintendo games they've made, so it makes sense in that regards. Will they go out and purchase more? I think it really just depends on if they have history with someone. I'm not. I had to look up like the Nintendo history, but if they have like another studio that they've worked closely with that's still, independent, then I can see them branching out and buying them up as well. But in terms of just, I would say not so much as Microsoft, but just scooping up anybody and everyone. I don't really see them doing that unless there's some close ties, like with Playground Games or Insomniac with PlayStation.
So basically, kind of like how Sony kind of is doing it now, where they're taking a while to like work with the developers. Practically, like, yeah, okay, I understand. I could definitely see that because Nintendo really hasn't like had a history of buying developers either. So
their last purchase was 2007, 2009. I think it was Monolith with the
Xenoblade games. Yep.
Yeah, so about it.
Yep, and everything else is in house. That's why I was. That's why when I brought it up, that's why I was saying how shocked I was that they actually bought a developer. But I mean, anything can happen in this game world. So, yeah, but
it would be. I will say, like, if they do branch out, it would be nice to see like a developer that doesn't do Nintendo thing. Like, at least try to. I know Nintendo itself is a bit niche, but try to have a developer that can bring something fresh to them. With the hardware being limited, there's only so much they can do. But it would be nice to see a Nintendo platform not have like a Nintendo style game just to entice other people. If that makes sense. So.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, and a lot of people sometimes want other companies to buy developers that are different from what they do. Like Activision has only been doing Call of Duty, like they've been trying to expand. But hopefully with Nintendo, they can try to buy more developers in the future, or hopefully expand their current studio roster. But let's get Wooly's thoughts on this. So, do you have anything to say about this? I don't know if you're much of a Nintendo guy yourself.
Honestly, it was a go figure. It was literally a go figure kind of moment when I heard that they bought them. It was like, huh, I thought they were already first party. It's like, honestly, like the
honestly looking at their list of the games that they've made, it's honestly it feels like that too.
Yeah, they're synonymous. It's like Playground Games and Xbox Game Studios, and they're synonymous with one another, and Insomniac and Sony. It's when a company buys a studio that's been making exclusives for that company since the dawn of time. I don't really view it as a wow moment. Imagine if Nintendo bought Platinum Games, yeah, because they've done a few little deals with Nintendo in the past. They've made a few things. What about what's that awesome game that's Chain? Yeah, Astral Chain, like insane quality game. That is one of the best-selling games on Switch, and like it's certainly the best looking game in my opinion, and it's something that I would snatch up immediately if I still had my Switch, which I don't. Imagine if Nintendo bought them, like that would all shit would break loose. Like it would be the biggest news.
With Capcom's been able to stretch, but just like looking at the history they had with Monster Hunter before they made World and multi-platform, it was such a huge thing for the handhelds.
Exactly, and I'd be like, well, there goes my hope for a Dragon's Dogma 2 on PlayStation 5. But yeah, it's kind of, I'm looking for news like that, to be honest. Like, imagine if one of these parties gets snatched up. It's a go figure moment. It's like when Sony bought Insomniac. Yeah, it was like.
It was big at the time, but it wasn't really all that shocking.
It was huge news, like Insomniac, like it was huge news, but for me it wasn't a wow moment. It was more of a wonder why they didn't do that sooner moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
it was like something with Remedy.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. Really.
I'm currently looking at the developers' games that they made, and looking at their list, I'm honestly like just realizing how much like IP Nintendo just sits on and doesn't do anything with. Like I don't know if you guys played this game on the GameCube. It was Mario Strikers, kind of like a soccer game.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played it myself, but I remember they got some sports games from Mario.
Yep, but let's move on. Get Crispy's thoughts. Wait, did
I already gave.
Oh yeah, my bad. My bad. That was me getting off track.
Oh man.
Sorry. Level. I'll get your thoughts and then I'll get Doomsayer's thoughts.
I really don't have anything to say about this whole purchasing deal. I thought Nintendo was already doing their own in-house games without needing to like purchase a
They do. The thing is though that this company also worked on like ports for games from other companies onto the Nintendo platforms. So I think that's also where they worked with them too. So.
But go figure. It's what it is. What it is.
Yeah, I mean, do you think with the other developers that Nintendo works with for like ports that they'll give them the opportunity to work on Nintendo exclusive games?
Well, we'll see in the future. Like,
Alright.
I don't have anything good to say or anything bad to say. It's just,
You just don't care. Okay.
I don't care right now, but we gotta have to wait and see.
All right. And Doomsayer.
I'm really sorry, dude. I'm gonna have to shoot in about 5 to 10 minutes.
All right, man.
All right.
Just
Ladies.
I'll let you get your outro out of the way then. So.
Oh, it's all right. I've got another 5 minutes.
All right.
I'll stick around.
Just let me know so I can make sure I get you out of the way real quick. Okay.
I'll let you gauge it, my bro. I'll let you gauge it.
All right. So Doomsayer, give me your thoughts about the Nintendo's acquisition.
Make it real quick. I wonder if this is like kind of a result from Microsoft buying Bethesda, and the whole streaming thing and that stuff. I mean, could this, I understand this developer's been making games for Nintendo for years upon years. What was it? That Strikers game, wasn't that on GameCube? I think it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's saying. Sony buying Insomniac and Bethesda with Microsoft. It makes sense. It does make perfect sense. But could this be like a little bit of a snowball thing where you start to see all these companies actually start buying all these gaming development places and having their own to try and keep it away from Google and Amazon.
I think it's definitely gotten more competitive in recent times, especially with Google and Amazon entering the market.
Yeah, because going back, you've sent me a bunch of the Embracer stuff. Just imagine if Nintendo actually went and bought the Embracer company. They are, they have all that mobile market. I mean, for the Switch, that actually kind of works out perfect because it's sort of like, it's a mobile device. The Switch, you can take it anywhere you want and that stuff. So, I mean, I think it's a good buy, and it kind of threw off because what was it? 10, 12 years ago is the last time they bought that company, Monolith, I think it was.
Yeah.
PC said. So yeah, it's a good buy. Keep all your in-house, gaming together.
Yeah, and to be honest, I just I just kind of just thought this was interesting news because again, like their last purchase was 2007. So it's not like this happens like regularly for Nintendo compared to like where Sony will buy a developer with like probably not that long. Like I think their longest like the purchase that wasn't Insomniac was what was Sucker Punch, and that was like in 2010, I believe.
I think it was 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like it's like Nintendo's the slowest one when it comes to purchasing studios. That's why I just kind of found this completely interesting. But so with that, I'm gonna get Wooly just do his outro and get going. So Wooly, my man.
Yeah, thank you, my dude, for having me. It's been an awesome show, and I really appreciate the convo. It's been awesome meeting all the guys I've not met before. Crispy, Triple, Izoroark. You're all really cool guys. Doomsayer, it's always a pleasure, man, to hear your beautiful voice. You're a legend. Love you. And Calarax, you're a legend. Thank you so much, dude. It's been awesome.
No problem, man. And don't forget to for you guys watching, don't forget to catch him on Saltia's podcast, where he's also on.
yeah. TSGP Live, Salty's Gaming Podcast, every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1 a.m. here in the UK. I know I'm crazy, but I live for this shit. And yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming on, man.
Say one thing to Wooly.
Have a good
before he
night,
goes. Hey, if you have a boy, let me know, because I will send you probably about 10 bags of toys and clothes. So just let me know.
Bro, damn.
Doomsayer is the man right now.
Doomsayer,
Everything, and my wife is giving me one dirty ass look right now.
that is the nicest thing ever, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, dude. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll be sure to let you know.
Definitely.
All right.
Means the world, that man. Thank you.
And you know what? That's one thing I gotta say about you, Doomsayer. You're like literally a really great guy. You're
legend.
Yep.
Do you want me to put my wife on right now? Because she'll tell you how bad I am.
Oh God! I mean, if you want to, but I mean, you don't have to.
Use a naughty boy. Yeah, it's okay.
But all right.
On that note, guys, I'm gonna say thank you and peace. Take care.
Yep.
All right, peace.
All right, peace
Later,
out.
man.
All right. So I guess with that, we can move on to the next topic, which is the news that broke out randomly about Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo at one point back when they first started. Honestly, I just kind of found this more like shocking news, like, because to think that this story would have broke out like before, I just seeing how big it is, I thought this would have come out like way before, not just like recently. But it's interesting to kind of think about that and hearing about what happened in the conference room of how the Nintendo heads were laughing at the idea. But I don't know. I just kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. Like, do you guys find this interesting? Like, are you guys at all surprised by this news? Like, did you ever see Nintendo or Microsoft going to like Nintendo, Square Enix, or Capcom or whoever? Who was the third option? Or one of you guys could tell me. I don't know. But I just find it surprising, to be honest. And I don't know, like, to think if it ever worked out, it could have changed the gaming landscape as we know it today. But I want to get Crispy's thoughts since he's an Xbox fan. So what do you have?
It's quite funny. It's quite funny. In 01, it was like even for me, Xbox didn't exist. It was all PlayStation. Their pitch to Nintendo is that your hardware sucks. Your software is great. So,
yep,
it's helping you do that. Interesting. I never actually heard of this until today. Because you threw it in the topics, and I'm like, hey,
oh, you did.
I always look at, you know.
I thought you and Xbox would have talked about it on that show, but I guess not.
Well, I'll be honest. It's one of those things like Microsoft saw Nintendo kind of getting their butt whooped at that point in time compared to PlayStation. PlayStation was
they were on top of the hill at that point in time with the PS2.
Yeah, they were trashing Nintendo. And this is, I almost feel like the laughing and everything else because they had the Wii in their pocket. That's what I feel like it was. You know what I mean? Because the Wii came out in, like, almost the same time. And you think about that, kind of crazy. Like it was like, what, maybe a year, 2 years after? I never followed the Wii until I played it, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. Like, I can, like, throw the bowling ball, and it feels like I'm actually throwing it, and it's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it's something I never experienced, and that's what Nintendo's good at. They continue kind of innovate. Like, you had the Kinect come after, you had the PS shit come after, like, like the Kinect, you tried to push it into the next generation. That's why Xbox failed. Because people are only objective to the certain period of time that they're objective to, and they enjoyed what the Wii gave. And even me, myself, who's a very hardcore gamer, became very enjoyment in the fact that I could play with like somebody like my grandma or something on the Wii, and it. I almost think that was the thing. Like they already knew they had something special, and they just were like laughing at them, even though like Microsoft, even at that time, was worth twice as much as they were. And I feel like that's what Microsoft walked into, was like, oh, we have more money. We can give you all the money in the world if we want to.
I have to ask you this now. I understand that Microsoft's leadership at that time wasn't as like focused on gaming like the current leadership is now for the more newer Xbox division now, because it kind of seems like they like from then like sure they wanted to enter gaming, but they weren't as focused as they are now.
Well, I mean, you had all these people trying to make the Xbox, the original Xbox, trying to make this come to fruition, like Sheamus, you know what I mean? Like, you had people pushing them to do this, but problem is you didn't have any games, which, I mean, we're kind of back at that again, even though 360 era, we had a lot of exclusive games. I think that's why they bought ZeniMax, because for a while there, ZeniMax Bethesda's games were all exclusive to the 360, which is kind of wild, but that's because of the partnership on the PC aspect. That's why you see them going back to PC as well. Like they're trying to hit all the narratives. The whole point is that Nintendo had IPs for years upon years. It's basically like if at that time, I think Xbox should have tried to buy Sega at that time because they were hurting. You know what I'm saying? And if they did that, I think it would be a totally different environment. It might have failed, but it would have still, at that point in time in 2001, a totally different thing that happened. Because Nintendo was still on their high horse. They've always been one of the pinnacles of gaming. And they literally, that's what got me into gaming, playing Super Mario Brothers and all these games. And they came out on arcade, they came out on console. I mean, I was playing all kinds of games on the original NES. And still to this day, like, I always have a good, and that's maybe the soft spot that we all have, and we don't call them out.
If you think about it too, if you think about it too,
gaming.
If you think about it too, if Microsoft was successful with the Nintendo negotiations, which I'm just saying a what if scenario, this could have eliminated more competition for consoles.
Well, no, but at that time, I think Microsoft would have fucked it up.
Yeah,
I'm dead serious, because they didn't know what gaming means to people as it does now. Like, yes, we'll fight on Twitter. We'll be like, oh, well, this has more frames, this and that. That all came from Nintendo. Nintendo started that. Sega, with the 32-bit era and the Genesis, actually, made gaming push forward. The beauty of it is that Nintendo continued to sustain its player base, and then all of a sudden they pushed with the Super Nintendo, and then they kept pushing, and the GameCube was a fail, but everybody was still on the N64. You know what I mean? Like, everybody was still like, I could play with 4 other people. They had so many games that you could play couch co-op 4 other people, and yes, the resolution sucked. You had a little tiny square in the screen, but you could still do it, and that was what was enjoyable. And then we got to the internet age, and that's where Sega was like, oh, we have Dreamcast. We actually have a connection to the internet, and it just didn't work at that time, and that's where they failed. It's the innovation comes from multiple gaming consoles. Like, before that, PlayStation and the Xbox. The PlayStation and the Xbox almost fed off of that and said, we're going into the internet age. But Xbox pushed it further, technically, because they actually implemented the Ethernet cable inside of the original Xbox. And the PlayStation was thinking about it because they had a port where you could put inside of the PlayStation 2 that would allow you to play online. It's kind of crazy. Like Final Fantasy VII, I'll still to this day, I'll be like, it almost ruined friendships because like I was like, yo, come chill, and they're like, no, I want to play Final Fantasy VII. This is the greatest thing I've ever fucking played. Or SOCOMs, like third person, playing multiplayer, like that got me into gaming, like multiplayer, like that made me. And yes, you could still chat with people on the PlayStation 2, which is kind of crazy. You could chat with them, within game. You could talk to them, and it might suck, it might sound choppy, everything else. The innovation involved, like that's why I look at both companies and I say innovate each other. That's all I care about. I want to see new things, and I feel like I haven't seen that in years.
Yep. Well, but glad you got all your thoughts out of the way, Crispy, and yeah. And I feel like if Microsoft was successful at that time, I think there probably wouldn't have been as much innovation as there is currently. But,
I agree, yeah.
But, let me get your thoughts on this, Triple.
Yeah, so is it surprising when I look back at, you're trying to get into the gaming space, you need software. When looking at it from that window, it's not too surprising, especially when, Sony and Nintendo tried doing something themselves. I think it was with the PS1 era, and we see how that panned out. So not too surprised about it. Am I glad that it didn't happen? Honestly, yes. Like when you look at what Nintendo does, you have to question like would there still be that type of innovation where we had the Wii, which was phenomenal, and we had the Wii U, which they tried something new, it just didn't really catch on, and now you have the Switch, which is selling like crazy, being a hybrid console. You look at what's on the market now, you don't have that at the moment. I know we got the cloud gaming and whatnot, and that's another aspect of like Microsoft is trying to do their own thing as well at this point. But early on, especially how makes me wonder how they would have handled them. When we see Rare, which is like the worst case scenario with Microsoft to date, that I know of personally, is just how they didn't, or at least for some people, they didn't handle it as well as you would like, where they had so many IPs or franchises under their belt, but they didn't really utilize them as much as people would have preferred, and it kind of makes me question, like, would Nintendo still be able to pump out, like, the style of games that they do, is just that now they have a beefier hardware for it, so kind of glad it didn't happen. I am somewhat not surprised about it, but
I think what makes it not surprising is how is the current news, like with how Microsoft purchased Bethesda. Because
yeah.
I think if that didn't happen, this would have been shocking. But I think that possibly back then they were probably thinking about being more competitive. But yeah, I definitely am with you, especially how you brought up Rare and how they turned out. I mean, they're still a symbol of, like, for Nintendo fans of, like, what happened. Like, how they used to be great during the Nintendo era. But,
how much of a stain it left. Like, at least when Microsoft was, buying up studios earlier, was 2018, 2019, you always harken back to what happened to Rare. So it makes you question if, Nintendo would have been kind of in the same situation, but, it never happened. So we can't really say officially. But, yeah, I mean, it would be crazy to think like Zelda.
Now what about Square Enix though? How'd you feel with that?
Man, that would be surprising. Honestly, it's like at least just knowing Square's history with Nintendo and
Sony,
and if it just became exclusive to this newcomer to the gaming space, like that would, I don't know, it probably would be something that actually it would make sense because it's like this developer that's worked with the two competitors. And now the new guy has them under their belt exclusively. It's like, man, okay, you probably have something to get eyes on your console. But again, it is just like how it would have played out and how.
Yeah.
I don't know how serious. Like, yeah, they made the console, but especially once we got to some errors in the 360 and Xbox One, how they weren't pushing as much as people would want when it comes to hardware. But that could be in turn to how things turned out. 360 so well, but the Xbox was, kind of meh, and Xbox One, at least early on, was kind of dicey. So, but yeah, it's Final Fantasy exclusive to Xbox. That would be, I mean, just thinking about it, it's like, man, that'd be wild.
I'm forgetting. There was another company. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it was Capcom. I'm not too sure, so don't quote me on that. But
I don't know if EA was mentioned in that one as well.
I think no, yeah, it was EA. Yeah.
Now EA, especially with their sports games and whatnot, like Xbox is known for shooters. Imagine they were like the place to play for sports games. Like they would be selling so much if like a lot of the bigger name sports games were on Xbox. Yeah, the people that just go for sports like that would definitely just get the console sold for that alone. So it would have been really, beneficial, as well as with, Battlefront or Battlefield, I should say, taking on Call of Duty, and now you have like Xbox's Battlefield versus Call of Duty.
Yeah, definitely something to think about too, especially considering how big the both Square Enix and EA are too. But by like them talking to all three was pretty big to me, and why I wanted to talk about this, because I don't think like anything has been done like this before, like at that time.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder too, like just seeing how the landscape went with EA picking up Respawn, picking up BioWare, like with that. Of course, things wouldn't flow exactly as you like, but would that possibly be under Xbox's belt as well, just depending on how things go? So, yeah, just seeing where the teams are now, and it just makes you wonder how different things would be if they did manage to acquire them.
Yep. But thanks for giving your thoughts, man. Doomsayer, you have anything to say about this?
What if Microsoft did buy Nintendo? Would Sony be around or as big, or do you think maybe Sony?
Well, they would have been around because at the time when Xbox came into gaming, it was already around the PS2 and GameCube era. So
right, but then Microsoft would have been, they would have had all of Nintendo's IP, and Sony, with the PlayStation 2. But do you think maybe Sony and Sega would have gotten together and formed a partnership? Because
I believe the reason because of the PlayStation happening in the first place, the first console, was because Sega also turned them down too. So I don't think they would have worked together.
They turned down Sony.
Yeah, back when they were offering to work together on that sound chip for the console.
Yeah, because when you sent that article, I'm like, and I saw it actually during the week. I'm like, man, just imagine if Microsoft actually owned Nintendo and everything that Nintendo has. I mean, what would that look today and that stuff? Would you have a Switch? Would it be all about the streaming and everything? And
I mean, good question. Who knows? Because Nintendo was always about like doing different things with their consoles. So
true, but the catalog that they would have, my God, man! I mean, that's the way I hear a lot of. Was the Game Pass supposed to be the Netflix and that stuff? But if you actually look at it, yeah, Netflix has 200 million people in that, but that was built off of them getting all that IP from other studios in that.
Yeah,
So
like Disney, which was Marvel at the time. You have a lot of
Right.
Fox IPs, a lot of that stuff.
The National Geographics, that was one of the big ones. The reason why they really went after it because of all the National Geographic catalog that they have and that stuff. Shit, I can only imagine what oh my God, Microsoft would be. Microsoft wouldn't have to. I mean, I understand they don't have anything to worry about now, but I mean, with that, I wouldn't sweat Sony whatsoever. The way Sony would really have to work hard to get, at least up to that. But hey, it never happened. So I'm glad we do have three companies. It's nice to have a good.
It's kind of just like a crazy what if scenario of like what could have happened if it had actually gone through. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like Nintendo with the amount of IP they hold, like again, like they sit on like a mountain of IP, so it could have forced Sony to like probably try to compete with more like games. But it also, again, like I said, it could have also like stifled like just like competition. Because that tends to happen when there's like hardly any competition.
Yeah, and you always need that competition just to make you better and everything. So
Yeah. But Lobo, I see you're quiet right there, man. Talk. Speak.
Okay, so was this after I heard about this? I was kind of surprised. I didn't know that they were in talks with Nintendo before they even start.
I know, and to know what, like, how much stuff comes out of like news that comes out of Microsoft being leaked. I'm surprised this was never leaked.
Yeah, but if they even here's the thing, if they even if Nintendo said yes, I don't think we would even have like Switch or the Wii U in this current time.
You think it would just be the Xbox that they would support and just have Nintendo games on there?
Right about that.
Maybe so.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe that's like I can guarantee that there would be Mario games on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And other games that Nintendo has. But thank God that didn't happen.
Now, what about with Square Enix and EA? What do you think about them being like offered? Because I believe the situation with Square Enix, what was said is that Square Enix's what was it, their account manager, whoever handles the money for Square Enix, said that the price offering that Microsoft offered was too low at the time.
Like I really not sure about that because since I've never followed Square Enix during that time. But hey, if Microsoft had more money, they could have just offered them more.
I know. If they were more serious about it too, Square Enix could have been theirs, seeing as they were hearing that they were actually thinking about it, but the money was too low. It's just like that could have been a possibility. That could have more than Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And Final Fantasy could have been theirs, but it just didn't work out. But
yeah.
Is that all you have to say for that?
Yeah, but it is what it is. If like I could imagine what would happen in 2021 if it did happen. Like you would see Xbox and Nintendo fanboys teaming up, going against the big dog, hey Sony.
I like he calls the big dog.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah. Thanks for your thoughts on that. But
yeah.
All right. I want to get to the final question, and this is something I just wanted to ask since it's the beginning of the new year, and I want to see what games like you guys are looking forward to coming out this year, or possibly just like being announced. So I just thought it would be a fun question to ask. So for me personally, I honestly I'm kind of excited for Halo to see if that comes out this year, because I've been getting into Halo again, and I honestly am liking the sounds of like the news coming out for the game and seeing some of the gameplay. While sure the graphics weren't that great, I thought the gameplay was pretty fun. So that's my game that I'm looking forward to this year. But I want to get your guys' like what you guys are most excited for to come out this year or to be announced.
Well, mine would be Halo Infinite, only because I've played enough Doom Eternal that it feels like that, but with a Halo-esque aspect to it, and I do enjoy the story that they involve in it. I have concerns, but we'll see what happens. I mean, they've clearly delayed it for a reason, so hopefully, the graphics get cleaned up, because I feel like, like when I played the Gears 4 beta for that game, that was I was disappointed. Movement was great, everything else, but the game looked horrible. And I'm hoping that that's just kind of what's happening with Halo Infinite, and hopefully it's gonna be better. And also, what I saw, like the graphics still didn't look great, but I saw some really interesting gameplay, especially with like the grappling hook and all that stuff. So it should be interesting, especially because it's Halo and it feels open world. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, Halo's never been open." Well, if you played Combat Evolved and everything else for that time, kind of open world a little bit. You know what I mean? You drove the warthog around and you did this and that. Like it was kind of open world. So it's not out of their realm. I feel like they need to do better graphically wise. It was not.
And honestly, looking at some of the artwork that's come out of them that's been shown off, it looks great. The art style looks great for what they're doing in the backgrounds too. I just don't know if they're gonna release it this year though, because it just seems like they're kind of like just been busy trying to fix it up more and more.
Yeah. I got a question for Crispy. Do you want to see a beta test for Halo Infinite?
It should be a multiplayer beta test. That's what we've like. As an Xbox gamer, I've had that since Gears 3. Like they started the beta tests. That's where they really started it. Like beta test. Gears 3 had the the sawed off and the Nasher, and that was, my God, so much fun. Because when you had both those guns, you were an animal. I killed like 17 people in a row. I had so many friends that freaking hit me up after that I'm still friends with to this day. So, I enjoy the beta testing on especially a multiplayer game. That's what I feel with they're not going to show any of the campaign. They're not going to let you beta test that. But they're going to make sure that the Halo fans that really play multiplayer, because, I reiterate this, like, there's still a huge community on Gears. Like, a lot of people don't ignore this. Like, if you play multiplayer, you have so many people that play multiplayer with you. And once you, enjoy their time, get into their friends, everything else, and you just, like, literally, I could boot up my Xbox right now and I have 20 people playing Gears 5. But that's the community that has been built, and Halo clearly has an older community.
A beta for Halo Infinite actually would be pretty great, especially because didn't they say that the multiplayer is going to be like free to play?
It's going to be multiplayer beta though. Like that's the way Xbox goes about it. Like it's going to be multiplayer beta, and it's going to be about performance. And the one thing I always go back to is like Gears 4 looked like trash. Absolute trash when I played it on the beta. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to sit back and realize that they're going to, they almost made it a 1X showcase at some point, and they're messing with stuff. And then all of a sudden I played the game and I'm like, my God, this game looks 10 times better. And I'm like, that's the way I look at games now. I'm like, am I really to judge it on a beta or an alpha or something like that? That's the way I looked at freaking, multiple games. Like, I'm like, is this, and some of them are just like, no, you didn't fix it.
That was my reaction. It's not the same situation, but that was my reaction with Just Cause 4 when it came out. My God, it looked horrible on console. It was so blurry. It looked like it honestly looked like I was just like looking at a fuzzy screen, like without glasses.
Exactly. Yes.
And like the fact that Square Enix actually fixed that and actually overhauled everything, it looks much more better today than it did before. But I was just like got flashbacks to that moment when I first like booted up for Just Cause 4 on my PS4. It looked so bad. But yeah, let me get the rest of you guys like what you guys are expecting. So Doomsayer, what are you hyped for coming out this year?
Let's see, The Medium, Returnal, Back 4 Blood. I love the Left 4 Dead series. That just reminds me. I actually heard that it's the same developer, so I'm really interested in that. The Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Battlefield 6. I really want to see if DICE is actually going to make a game and not have all the problems on day one that they usually have. It'd be nice. Halo Infinite and Evil Dead the game. I'm looking forward to. Big Army of Darkness, Evil Dead fan, Sam Raimi and all that, Bruce Campbell. Yeah, can't wait for those.
Yeah, it
So,
seems like you have seems like you kind of have like a soft spot for like horror-ish games. Since
I played Dead Space 7 times, and I just platinumed it not too long ago. And it doesn't matter how many times I play it, still scares the shit out of me.
you know, at least I have someone who's giving the medium love because it seems like almost nobody's talking about that game currently. Like it's almost been forgotten about.
Well, I can't remember. It was on it. I think it was on Mooch's show. He said something about it, and I'm really interested in how they're breaking up to where you're going to be able to sit there and play the same game but in two different views. And everybody was talking about the 60 frames, but it's only going to be 30 frames, and it's like, yeah, listen. As you know, I'm not a tech guy. I screwed the beginning of the show up, so we all know I'm not into tech. I just want the games. If the games are looking good, they got a good story, they play well and everything. That's all I'm interested in. Let me have just a good time.
All right, that's understandable.
Yeah, and with the medium too, like the dual, I forget the specific term they got for it, but it's dual screen setup, and just seeing the little bit of gameplay they put out and how slow the pacing is. Like me, I prefer 60 frames, like above all else. If you can get it 60, I want it 60. But if the game's stuck at 30, okay, that's fine. But looking at the medium, it's not really like super quick and fast. And again, the special thing they're going for, I can understand the 30. So I wouldn't really even put it as a con. Like you're not really doing ultra fast pace. You're moving around slowly, sneaking past the enemy, the invisible enemy that they had, and there's still the dual reality type of thing, so it only makes sense for 30 FPS, really. Like when you
I can see what they're trying to go for, and it's not like my cup of tea. It's certainly something different than what other games are doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm still kind of, I'll admit, Dead Space is like one of my favorite games ever, but I'm not the best at horror games when it comes to just like sticking them out. So I'm kind of on the ropes with it, but yeah, it is interesting what they're going for.
The Dead Space franchise is on my list for games to get on Steam because I'll be honest, I missed out on a lot of franchises, so I'm planning on getting the Dead Space franchise and playing through it eventually.
The first two Dead Spaces are knockouts.
Dead Space 3?
Of course, EA screwed up and they had to put the more action and everything in it. But that Callisto project, I think it's called the Callisto project. The guy, the original guy that did Dead Space, that went on to Sledgehammer, and that looks. I cannot wait for that. That can't get here quick enough.
I was so hyped when I saw this is the creator from Dead Space, and I remember watching the little documentary they had when they're talking about how the tentacle scene kind of almost ruined the game. I was like, oh man, he's making another game. Oh my goodness. So I am looking for that.
On the topic of hype, I want to get your what you're most excited for coming out this year.
Sweet. So several games. So if with the first one, I would say is Monster Hunter Rise. I put I think it was 1,000 hours in Monster Hunter World last gen. So I'm really looking forward to Monster Hunter Rise. I've been playing the demo, and I'm really liking it. The new wire bug mechanic, if any of you guys seen it, it's pretty interesting. And the aesthetics and themes that they're going for this one, I'm really looking forward to that one. Another one, they haven't shown much of it, but the other one is Monster Hunter Stories. It's a sequel to one that they had on DS, and it's also on mobile. And it's more like a turn-based, we'll say almost like Pokemon-ish in terms of how you can get your own monsters and ride them and fight enemies. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with a different approach with it, because I like the DS one, but it could be a lot more, so I hope they add more to it. Now, God of War Ragnarok, I'm looking for. I don't even know if that's the official term for it, but that's what people are calling it.
It is.
Not 100%. Okay, there we go. Not 100% sure they'll come out this year. I would love for it to, because I love God of War. I'll admit I made the foolish mistake of making my first playthrough on the highest difficulty, which kind of ruined my experience with the game, but overall I still loved it, so really looking forward to the sequel. Also, you got something?
I was just gonna say it's kind of funny because okay, so how you mentioned before how you don't know if it's coming out this year. I don't know if you saw the documentary of Raising Kratos, but in there they kind of or I'm not sure if it was there or some interview with Cory Barlog, but he did say that he cut out a lot of content that he was making for the first game So I bet you that the second game is going to be all that missing content.
Yeah, so that's another thing, because you're not building from scratch. It's more so you already got the assets there, and man, if it does come out this year, that would be awesome, because that cliffhanger with Thor, I'm just like, I can't just stop right there, man. You have me all excited and everything. It's like, okay, next game. I was like, dang. But definitely looking forward to God of War. Also looking forward to Halo. Now, I'll be honest, like 343 kind of did let me down. I say kind of, that's kind of loosely, but with Halo 5 campaign mode, so much so like after I beat the campaign, I was like, I don't want to play this game no more. But I still am looking forward to Halo Infinite, because I'm just like, it still is a new Halo game, and seeing what they're trying. Like, I know, as Crispy pointed out, like the sandbox has always kind of been open, but not in the sense of like when you think open world with Horizon or Zelda or Skyrim. Like, there's a lot of activities and not just like solo missions to do. So I'm really interested on seeing how they would handle like a lot more open Halo with objectives, and they're saying they're gonna have like some type of ways to level up Chief. I think it's more so related to the equipment. So I'm just really curious on how they'll handle the game. Visually, it definitely could look better, and I'm glad to see that they're addressing it, because my whole issue is mostly with the marketing with what Microsoft was going for, like the most powerful Xbox, and then Halo being a flagship. I was kind of like, that's not looking too good, but I'm really hoping like the main thing is like the game just plays well and it's really just fun to play. And I wrote his name down because I couldn't remember off my head, but the brute that they showed at the end, like
Craig.
Yeah, not Craig.
It's
It's the war chief. I think it's Scarum. I googled it. I think that's his name, but I will say like that one little speech that he had at the end of the game made him like 10 times better than Warden Eternal or Cortana in Halo 5. So I'm just like, I'm really hoping like they deliver with a really good villain, because Warden Eternal, he wasn't compelling whatsoever. Cortana wasn't that compelling either, and I'm really curious on like how they handle the story, because seeing where Halo 5 left off, if everyone's together, and now this was starting off with saying the UNSC lost the war, so I'm just like, what's the story here? How is this going to play out completely? As well as when they said they're going to support it for 10 years, like, are we getting expansion packs? Are we just getting extended stories? And, just hoping if it is going for 10 years, it's not a really short campaign, and we'll just add more to it later. Like, I hope this first drop of the game is, like, fulfilling enough to where I'm hoping for more content.
kind of like how Destiny's been doing it with the content, right?
Yeah. Like, Destiny, their initial game was, like, there's content, but not enough. Like, when I play Gears of War, Uncharted, like all these other single player games, and I'm like, there's multiplayer, but there's enough campaign there to where I'm like, this is good, and I'm not like, oh, this was awful. Where's more? So the DLC adds on to it, not fixes the game. That's what I'm hoping they do. So, and I'm also looking forward to the last game off the top of my head, at least, is Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Oh my god, that game looks so beautiful.
To find out that it was by the guys, I can't remember the name specifically, but it was about Majora's Mask.
They're Ember Lab.
Yeah, so Ember Lab. So I saw their animation for Majora's Mask, and me personally, like, I love animation. Like,
that's why when I heard that's why when I saw them in that Sony stream, I forgot what it was. I think it was the PlayStation reveal, where they said that they had a background in film and animation. I was curious about that. So when I saw their channel, I knew they weren't lying.
Put out some good quality, but I'm huge into animation. Not gonna say in the sense of like I have a whole bunch of DVDs and stuff like that, but I love anime and stuff like that, cartoons, 3D animation. I love Square Enix and their 3D when they're doing games, or World of Warcraft. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic, but just seeing that this team that put out some really awesome animation work, and seeing the trailers for Kena Bridge of Spirits, and just the quality and the details, I'm just like, I'm really curious to see how this game plays out, and just everything that it's about. So that's
I will say, for as much like people always say that game looks cartoony, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because it looks like a Pixar level qualities for graphics.
And that's one thing that kind of like doesn't make sense to me. It's just the art style that they're going for. A game looking cartoony isn't bad. Like, there's a lot of visuals and just very good looking games that aren't realistic, like hyper realism. Like, they don't have to be hyper realistic to be good when it's speaking from an artistic standpoint. Like, I love my Gears of War. I love my was it Uncharted and Last of Us in terms level of details that they put when really trying to push like realistic visuals. But I also love, Kenna or Mario Odyssey and just all these other cartoonish looking games. So yeah, like art style wise, I'm that's the main thing. That's the main reason I was like, okay, what is this game? Because I like the style art that they're going for. So yeah.
All right, I see a request there in the chat, Crispy. I'll get Lobo out of the way with his thoughts, and then I'll get your outro. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
So Lobo, tell me what your games you're excited for.
There's a lot of games I'm excited for. First off, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Forbidden West, and what was the other game? Shoot. Oh, Back for Blood as well. I forgot.
Everyone's excited. Everyone's excited for that Left 4 Dead game.
Yeah, everyone's excited. Like, I'm more excited for Horizon. Hopefully, what they could do with the engine that Kojima tweaked on.
Yep, it honestly surprised me that that studio is doing their own type of game, and fucking Valve hasn't made a new Left 4 Dead game. They don't know how to count to 3.
Yeah.
But good, man. I like your choices. Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West. God damn it! I don't know why they just didn't put a 2 in front of it. But yeah, that game's probably the most wanted game right now too, coming off the first game. But with that, let's get to the outros. Crispy, man, tell everyone where they can find you, man.
Of course, dude. Like, always a pleasure. Great conversations, by the way. I know you guys don't play the games I play, but that's what I enjoy. Just having a good conversation. You know what? You can sit there and be like, oh, this is great and this is great. Well, you know what? The controller bullshit with Xbox, fix that shit. That's what I got to say about that. Like, don't sit here and hate on it. Understand there's a lot of legality, but at the end of the day, fix it. And the same goes for PlayStation or Nintendo. Let's fix the problems that they have. Make it better.
Agreed.
At Bomb on Twitter, Bomb28 Xbox Live. Yes, I will teach you how to play Gears. Apparently, Doom. That one dude that I hit up right after. I don't remember his name, but yeah, he didn't hit me back up. So. Yes, I tried to play him, by the way. I don't know if he told you otherwise, but yes, I hit him up in a DM, and he was not having it. So I don't know what happened there. But yes, I love playing Gears. Gears is my jam. You can see it by my freaking icon, for the love of God. Like, I have the bomb that blows up all the time. But also, I just love gaming in general. Let's be nice to each other. Like, we're coming into times where we should be nice to each other. Especially gamers, you know what I'm saying? We are gamers at the end of the day, and if you enjoy a single player game, you enjoy a multiplayer game, you enjoy third person, first person, let's enjoy that, and that's all I gotta say.
I do know you host your own show. What was it? 4 Guys with a Quarter?
No, that's not me.
That's not you?
That's a show that I've been on. Like I am the whore of podcasting. So.
Okay, fair. Any shows are going to come up on recently, or no?
Well, we got next podcast 7 p.m. Thursday. We got Breakfast of a Boom Friday 10 a.m. And yeah, that's about it right now. That's all I'm going to call out. Not happy with the other podcasts I'm supposed to be on, so that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's all right, man. But thanks for coming on. And Doomsayer. I like your show, man. I want everyone to know where they can watch your show, where they can watch your stream, and just hear you give your opinion on topics.
Let's see. You can, the first season you can catch on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, that kind of thing. It's tomorrow. We're actually premiering on YouTube, so hopefully, my tech-savvy brain is going to hook everything up correctly tomorrow. But check us out. 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Some of the topics, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead heist movie, Shia LaBeouf, and getting blackballed in Hollywood. A couple gaming topics. And our WTF segment's coming back. Montreal's nude metro, and Brazil has a problem with a vagina. So come check us out at 11 o'clock tomorrow, and come have a good time.
Well, those are all interesting topics. Gotta say.
Yeah, believe me, I worked real hard last night trying to find a bunch of them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Hey, sorry for screwing up the first part and that stuff.
No problems, man. It's streaming. Stuff is bound to happen.
And I'm not the biggest tech savvy guy, but you know what? It was a really good meeting everybody and that stuff. You know, I followed everybody on every kind of podcast there is and Twitter and everything. So glad to meet up with you guys and talk to everybody too.
All right, and you Triple, tell everyone they can find you, man.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at @tcombogaming. Admittedly, I'm kind of treating it like Facebook almost. I just talk about anything. If my name for my channel doesn't already make it obvious, I try to display everywhere anything that I can. So if you guys just want to spark up conversations about just any games, really, that's fine with me. On YouTube is Triple Combo Gaming. Same thing. Currently, just working on videos. Anything that comes to mind. I've been sitting on like a PlayStation video for a while, and with Monster Hunter out, I've been sitting on a video idea for there. So that's where I'm at mostly. Just Twitter, talking about random stuff, and whenever there's upload on YouTube, there's upload. So
Now that you're speaking of video, I think I should say real quick that I'm actually wrapping up that one video I promised a few weeks ago now. So I'm gonna be putting that out soon. So yeah, stay looking forward for that, all you viewers. So yeah, and Lobo, you're the last one, and man, it seems like you're always on the show now. So
yeah, maybe you could have me as a permanent member, man.
Yeah, maybe. Lobo, tell everyone they can find you, man.
They can find me at twitter.com/ilobo_gaming and ilobogaming on YouTube, and check out yesterday's RGT podcast on Big Cloud Gaming's channel.
All right, and with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and tune in for the next episode. What's up?
Can I say one thing? I forgot to say this because it's my brain. It's the Order of Disorder podcast tomorrow. Doomsayer's network on YouTube. Sorry.
All right. Everyone, go check that out. And thank you for advertising your stuff, Doomsayer. And I really do appreciate you coming on. And you too, Triple. And
again, appreciate you having me. First time doing this thing, so I really appreciate you reaching out to me.
No problem. And hopefully you guys can continue doing more podcasts with other people. Maybe. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Tune in for the next episode. And see you guys later. Peace.
Later.
Bye.